So when I've heard you talk about, hey, that was your goal coming from coal mining, Ohio, and just like the land of what the world modern day knows as Rogue, but you did it before Rogue was mainstream.
Yep.
You just want to lift weights and get paid, man. Where did that kind of come from, and where did that get instilled in your value system?
It's a great question because it was always a hobby within my family. My dad kind of looked like Super Mario, kind of a stocky Italian dude, always lifted weights. My uncles, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather. So the kind of story goes is my great-grandfather, Joseph, and my great-uncle, Isaiah, died in a coal mine explosion in 1935. They were on the same shift. And shortly after that, they made a rule that you can't work on same shift as your other family because this is what happens. Then all of a sudden, you've got the whole family has no, like, adult men, right? And so he was already teaching my grandfather how to lift weights at 9 years old. And my grandfather's the one that taught me. And then I saw my dad lifting as I grew up too. So it was always a thing was like coal mining, hard work, lifting. That was like a basis. So a lot of people don't realize that I'm a fourth generation lifter and coal miner. I just happen to be the first person to take it out of the hobby and into the job. And I just think the pain, and I'll use that word because that's what I saw, of people disliking long-term what they were made to do or had to do to survive in my environment. When coal mines on strike, my mom's waiting tables, I was my dad split when I was 11. I live with my mom, so she's a single parent, just struggling to make the trailer rent at $150. And I'm just watching, and I just was so fed up with multiple things. One, that we just didn't really have enough to go around. Two, that I didn't understand it all the way, but I didn't learn traditionally. I was an entrepreneur, but didn't really understand that yet because I didn't do very well in anything structured, like anything. And then so I thought it was dumb. I didn't realize how smart I really was, right? Because it was just application in the wrong thing. And then just like I wanted to love what I do. And I just think that those other generations had so much of that pain that it spilled over with me. And I
almost feel like it was such a beautiful spot because
Yes.
you're in this spot right here of, I know I don't want this.
Facts.
I don't want to struggle to make the rent. I don't want to experience the pain that I'm seeing my mom experience over here, working double shifts and doing whatever she needs to do to pay the rent. But then also it's this feeling of I'm not good enough. Yep. I need to be better to be over here. And when you're in the middle of those two, in some ways it could be viewed as just like the land of mediocrity where you could be stationary. But if you can allow this side to push you and this side where you can chase, now it's this beautiful land of opportunity.
Well, and Bryce, I was always kind of naturally a daydreamer, and I think that comes with being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I just think I never really liked authority. I always I was like old school, like selling baseball cards and stuff. Like I was into all that stuff, like naturally, right? So I didn't really realize that I didn't really understand the signs. I can see that a mile away now because I understand it, right? Like in my own kids. But the thing is I was just like, there just has to be I'm seeing a few entrepreneurial families and I'm like, this just looks so much different. This looks so much more like this is what I want. And so I started coming up with this narrative in my head. What happens if I could own my own gym, literally lift weights and get paid? And the major one that I think was a huge part of this process. I started coming up with the idea that when I was done with my life's work, everything would be different forever. That I was going to be the rich grandpa, uncle, dad, whatever you place that in my family tree that was like, yo, what that dude did, it changed everybody's life. And about 15 years old, that's when I started thinking like that. Like, how can I be like this guy's grandfather that changed everything and this guy's uncle? Like, somebody has to shield all that. And I think that zero to that first whatever nominal amount of money or wealth or understanding, financial IQ, all that, like, I thought it would take my entire life. And to some degree, it is a lifelong situation, which is why I was just dug in, bro. I was just dug in for this is what my, true why is that I'm going to represent that for my family for generations. It's a true change of financial IQ, understanding, and wealth building. And, I didn't really know all the way what it looked like, but I was setting out for that like relatively young. It might have sounded a little different then, but that's now that I could make sense of it. That's what I was feeling because I would find myself admiring a few people around town that had some stuff on that, like going on. It was very few people at that spot. But then I was like, man, I just been literally on fire. And then I also recognize patterns really well. And I think that's why consistency makes a lot of sense to me. When I started recognizing alignment and patterns and momentum and things that I was doing that other people weren't willing to do, that might have been talented or had more gifts than me. And I just identified some of those things early in my career. And then I just truly doubled down on being a reliable person that people know what they get. You knew I was going to be here today. You know what I'm saying? When you did it, you knew that I was going to, like, I'm just that person because I've built that person over time. And that's what people want to work with. And the longevity of my career and the ups and downs, I think, have a lot to do with that type of operation.
I am angry that I haven't met you sooner, because the way you're communicating is the way I'm thinking. Yeah. But in my juvenile landscape and being a decade plus behind you is just like, dude, the land of consistency is numero uno. The compliance is the science. And seeing how consistent you are, you talked about being reliable, like, especially in the fitness industry, man. I can't speak for Ohio, but I'm assuming there's a lot of strength and conditioning out there, especially because of Rogue and West Side and all those things.
Arnold Classic.
But in San Diego, man, like, it's a beach town. Everybody's got their shirt off. People drive past 30 to 40 gyms just to come see me. So I hold a personal responsibility of like, wow, like, I want people to have an experience when they come here, and that experience is not so much going to be this fun, jovial thing. It's like, no. You're going to be underneath the anvil, underneath heat, becoming the person that you're supposed to be in pursuit of your peak expression. And something about the way you described the simplicity of consistency, the simplicity of showing up, the simplicity of being on time, the simplicity of being reliable. The world sometimes looks at that and it's like, yeah, that's a given. But most people, I would say 99% of people, don't do any of those things. They do them some of the time.
Bro, I beat people every fucking day because of that. And I know it, and I can see it in their eyes. And I've told people that have come to see me before that are way more gifted, listen, you're young, you're gifted, you have a lot of ahead of you. If you don't get these few things together, I'll beat you every fucking day. It's just the truth. It's that black and white. Like, because I'm intentional learning at the same time as I'm being consistent. I'm doing these things to progress my career. I still look at myself as the guy in the trailer. See, that's what people don't realize. I might have Muscle Island and these certain things going on, but I don't see that when I get up. I recognize the progress I made, but I'm a different kind of dude because of my experiences. That's why even as a parent, I try to express to my kids, like, you're not going to be starving like a caged animal like I was, because that's exactly what it was. But you can still be hungry for what you want to build in your own way and build on top of the foundation that I've created. And now we have financial IQ and we understand what time it is. We understand what's required. You can still be hungry for what your situation is, but it's impossible to have the same experience as me. I can't replay that. Like, there's only one person that had to go through that, and that happened to be me. And I don't want to create these other situations for them. Like, a lot of second generation money starts to happen. Like, I'm trying to get ahead of that and be like, no, I did all this so I can support your version of this. And then we're building and then stewarding the wealth in a proper way with actual fucking work. And so, like, I'm trying to learn from how there's been missteps in this, second situation, and try to articulate what I really am about and why I did this and what they can represent as that next situation, ongoing. So yeah, I
like that you reference, I went through your Instagram quite a bit, and I like that you reference situation, because it tells me that you have the ability to observe the specificity of what people are going through. So it shows that you have empathy and compassion. Definitely. But it also shows that you understand that humans and situations are malleable. The work works. If you put in the work, you take care of what's needed to be taken care of. You show up consistently. And that starts with your health. That starts with your mindset. That starts with confidence. Confidence is not something, you hear this all the time on podcasts and like cliche Instagram posts or X posts or Threads posts where people are just like, confidence is not just shouting affirmations in the mirror. It's proof of concept that you are who you say you are. And what I'm hearing from you is a lot of conviction, because you've done this consistently since 1999.
Yeah.
That's a few decades of reps now where it doesn't matter what somebody else does. It seems really cute if somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm going to catch you, I'm going to do the thing. You're like, okay,
I use
good
the
luck.
word cute a lot.
Yeah.
Because I know who I am. I knew who I
Yes.
was back in the day. And the reality is I just over time developed that person. I see, this is what is funny to me. Like a lot of times I can feel it on people when their confidence ain't real, Bryce, because mine is, because it is earned. And it has been starting from not just the bottom, underground, the bottom 600 feet, like going through ups and downs in business and having to stand up, working with my idol, and then him helping me, like even just looking at me, like, you know, as I was rebuilding new stuff. Like I've been in all the rooms. I've experienced it.